Okay, guys, well, Happy New Year. Today is New Year's Day, and I kind of got nothing to do. Haven't had a video out for a while, so I figured 2 years ago, around Christmas time, I put out a fly tying video. Last year in November, I put out my second fly tying video, and I'll put out another fly tying video, but I figured I wanted to do something different this year. So my little Christmas gift and Happy New Year's gift to you guys is I'm going to give you my suggestions or recommendations or just general fly fishing tips that I use. I am not an expert. This is just how I fly. And if you like the videos or if you see what kind of success I have, you want to learn from it a little, here's basically what I do, a little more in detail. I'm in my den. I'm going to talk over everything with you, but most of it's going to be equipment, okay? And I'm not going to go so much into drifts and everything. I put out 2 or 3 nymphing strategies videos, nymphing strategies 1, 2, and 3. If you want to look at how I do my drift and everything, go check out those videos. But this is more my equipment and my fanny pack, okay? So let's get right into it, okay? I have a whole list in front of me. It has like, maybe 18 things. So it's going to be maybe a little long. I'm not going to spend too much time. First thing I'm going to talk about is my Hemostats, okay, that I carry with me, which is your, these are Hemostats pliers, the locking pliers, okay? I don't keep these on a zinger. The reason I don't keep these on a zinger is because first, let me show you. These are Dr. Slick, okay? They have a gold end here where you put your fingers through. And what I love about these particular ones, I think these are the 5-inchers. These have a little, I'm going to show you right here, a little pointy needle here. That is for opening up your split shots, okay? Very, very cool. I went through a lot of, in my younger years, a lot of different Hemostats, dropping them, just trying them out. This is the best pair that I have. I've had this pair for maybe 7, 8 years. I haven't lost it, knock on wood, okay? And what I love about these, besides that little needle thing that helps separate your split shot, and is these, I don't know if you guys can see, but the jaws on these Hemostats, the first 2/3 of it, or better than half of it, has teeth on it, okay, right here. The very last third of it is flat, okay? The reason I love that flat part is either taking out your fly or tying a fly on your line. It doesn't bugger up your fly. The teeth in these Hemostats really bugger up your fly, especially when you're twisting it and trying to take it out of a fish's mouth. It really tears up your fly bad. But these flat ends on it are really cool and nice. I also will, these are self-locking, okay? And I will usually, any dry fly, or even any of my nymphs, maybe size 20 or under, like midge pupas, I will lock these in and I will use these to tie my fly onto my tippet, okay? Much easier, doesn't, and especially with dry flies, it does not bugger up your dry fly hackle, how it looks at all. It's very, very, I use my Hemostats all the time. I just clip them on my fanny pack and I've never lost them. I know there's guys that have zingers on these. I guess you could use a zinger as long as you have a swivel. But that, for as much as I use it and how I think for me, the zinger cord would get in the way. So that's the first piece of equipment, okay? Toss that off to the side. I got all my stuff out here for you. Next one is my nippers. I have talked about these in a couple of my older videos. These are, I don't know if you could see, you probably can't, they're called Sports Tools nippers, okay? Sports Tools. It's both plural, sports tools. What I love about these nippers, these are stainless steel. These also get is this first retractable needle. Okay, this retractable needle, I do so much with this retractable needle. It helps me get knots undone. Besides opening up the eye of a fly if the cement's over it or if it's clogged up, but getting tangles out, getting knots out, messing with my fly with this little needle, it is indispensable. This little needle, the needle that is on the back of most nippers, the absolute only thing you can do with that is open up the eye of your hook. Other than that, no other use for it. This has multi-uses, okay? And this also, now these come with a little knot tying tool to tie blood knots or nail knots, okay? I should say nail knots. These you can get on, I either go through Amazon or eBay, but they're about $23. Stainless steel, they're super sharp. They're not, like all those other super high-priced nippers. I mean, if you guys got the money and want to spend it, go ahead, but these work absolutely great, okay? I do have these on a zinger, okay? On my fanny pack. I got like 3 or 4 pair of these. Okay, next up is scissors, okay? First, I'm going to talk about tying scissors. I have 6 different pair of scissors, all different size qualities, real teeny pointy ones. But as far as for glow bugs, or if you're using tough thread like Kevlar, or you just want a tough pair of scissors that can stand up, the Dr. Slick synthetic scissors. These are like 3.5-inch scissors, but they are super tough. Now they're thicker, so they're not made to get into tiny places. But these Dr. Slick synthetic scissors, they might be somewhere around $12 to $15, maybe $17 at the highest, but I mean, it's not a ton of money. But they're super, super sharp, and they can stand up. If you're using a lot of synthetic material, these, I would use these way more than my other scissors that I'm using on natural material, okay? And let me show you here. What also I carry is, I got so much to tell you guys. I keep scissors with me in my fanny pack. So, and it's just a small pair because I trim up flies all the time. But these are super sharp, okay? These scissors, they're teeny small. They're only like 3.5 inches. I guess they're like sewing scissors, but I keep them with me. I love having these I use, so I can't say a lot, but when I need them, I have them. Better to have and not need rather than need and not have. Okay, so there's my scissors I keep in my fanny pack. Next up is my thermometer. You guys saw me use this a couple times in my videos. This is a Fishpond thermometer. I always keep it with me. Okay, I tie a string to it so I can keep it in the water for several minutes, so I get an accurate temperature. And I always keep a thermometer with me. I use it more so in the summer and in the winter, not so much during mid-season or when we're in the peak of the season. All the temperatures should be good at that time. Okay, next up is I keep a whole bunch of markers with me. These are permanent markers, and I do use these often. I've talked about using some of these. I will make a hare's ear into a pheasant tail. I can make a sulfur into a blue-winged olive. Okay, the colors I carry with me are gray. There's a light gray and a dark gray, brown, black, dark green, and a light green. Okay, and this is a lighter brown, like a bronze color. Okay, so I keep these markers with me. They're in this I got last year. This is a Fishpond fanny pack or chest pack. You can wear it both ways, and it has many different compartments in it that I can hold separately in separate areas. These extra little things that I carry with me. Okay. I also carry a pencil. You think, what are you going to use a pencil for? I don't care about the pencil. I care about the eraser. You can shine up your beads with an eraser. Oh man, if you have tarnished beads, you get that eraser and you just rub that eraser on your beads, shines them right up. Okay. Used to be a little trick we used to do when I was a little kid. I used to collect coins, and they had real dirty pennies, and you get them. You get well, before they came out with stuff to clean copper and stuff, but you use an eraser and that will shine up your beads real good. Okay, next up. Okay, what I love about this pack, actually I put this in here, but this I've also had I don't think this came with it, I can't remember, but I think I bought these. This is an internal fly patch. Okay, I do not use anything externally anymore for flies. I stopped that years ago. I've had a Sims pack before this. I forget whose other pack, but my last 3 packs over the last 15, 20 years, I have used internal because I don't lose flies. I have gone, you know, just the flies just fall off. They just do. And I had enough of that. So you can buy these patches from your local pro fly shop, and I don't know who makes these, but they come in all different sizes. Some of them you could even cut to fit it, but you have to have a compartment though. That I think this was a working compartment, like a tray, and you could work off of. But instead of the tray, well, you could still work off of it, but this is I like these internal fly patches that you can put your flies on, and then they're secure in there. This way, if they fall off inside my fanny pack, not on the ground or in the grass or in the woods somewhere. Okay. Next up is my split shots. I carry several different split shots with me, sizes. I carry BB, 1s, 4s, and 6s I mostly use. And what I use mostly, or all the time if I can, is Dinsmore. Okay, Dinsmore is non-toxic, and they have several different ones, but pick the green ones. The green ones are the best in my opinion. Okay, they have some other soft shot ones that just they fall off all the time. I don't even use them. I got packs of them that I don't even touch, and they're very bright. They're like almost like a silvery tin color, where these are colored green, light green, dark green. And so the Dinsmore green packs, they sell combination packs too that you can dial over, and actually that's what I carry with me. It's let me see where I can get it here. Where's that? Okay, it's a little one. Okay, this is a little dial pack that you can dial, but I refill them as they get low with taking them out of the big packs. Okay, so if you're going to use the Dinsmore, like I'm suggesting, make sure you get the green packs, okay? And they have smaller green packs, so just make sure they're green, okay? Next up is indicators, which I have gotten away from mostly. I rarely use indicators anymore. When I do use indicators, oh, here's one. I use airflow, okay, and this is a teeny one. This is the smallest one they make. I think it's the 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. This is clear. I've mostly used orange color. Sometimes I use yellow, and I have not found that it spooked anything, but I have mostly, when I do use that, I do use the clear or the white more now. But in the past, they didn't have clear. They didn't have clear till recently, and I never think I tried the white till recently either. But I used to use the orange, and I heard a podcast the other day with Tommy Rosenbauer and George Daniels, and they suggested using the white and the clear also. They said that, or at least George Daniels said that he has noticed fish spooking from the color of like a yellow or a yellow or a orange, but I've never seen it, and I've caught a lot of fish. It's kind of funny. I fished for like 30 years without any indicators, and then I read George Daniels' book and this first book, Dynamic Nymphing, and I started using them. And in my first, I've been doing the videos now for 3+ years, and my first half of all my videos, I was promoting and using the indicators. Then I got away from them, and I got away from them, and I just so I rarely go back to them again. The reason I got away from them is, and this is just my opinion and my experience, is using the indicator. First, it is much easier to detect a strike if you're not experienced to see and pick up strikes, okay? So for many guys, they use them, they have success with them, great. Use them, continue using them. I love using just watching the belly of my line. The reason I do that is most of the times throughout the day, I am fishing water anywhere from trickle 8 to 10 inches deep down to 4 foot deep, okay? A sighter, these are adjustable. Most guys are lazy and don't adjust them, okay? Even I got on the lazy side at times and just didn't adjust it. But a sighter or an indicator is, for the most part, stationary, okay? That sighter is, if you have your sighter set up for you fishing 2 foot of water, that's where it's going to be, and that's where. But if you're, and it's fairly close water, but if you're fishing like me, sometimes up at the Delaware, I'm nymphing 15 yards out, you know, 45 feet away from me, I'm nymphing. Well, that sighter's underwater. I can't see it. And even going from 10 inches down to 2 feet, that's that stationary sighter. You can't adjust that with the depths of water you're fishing, even sometimes in the same drift. And also using an indicator, you often have to mend. When you mend, you are disturbing your drift, okay? And I don't like to disturb my drift. So I got away from using the sighter, went back to fishing and tried to refine my technique, and I got, which I feel very, very confident using no indicator. And the best thing about no indicator is it felt like I got rid of a ball and chain, because you put the indicator on, it's much heavier, a little bit more difficult to cast. You know, you're just working with something on your line that isn't a fly, and it's much heavier, and so it's I love getting away from it. But I focus on the belly of my line. Sometimes I focus where the line enters the water. Maybe I focus on where the fly line meets the leader. Whatever focal point I pick for that drift, because my focal point changes with each drift depending on the depth and speed of the water. That's what I focus on, and I watch for a hit or a pause. I don't. You never ever really know what's happening underneath that bobber, underneath that airflow indicator, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you don't know exactly what's going on under there, and I like keeping almost straight contact with my rig. Okay, at least the way I do it. Like I said, check out my nymphing videos, nymphing strategies 1, 2, and 3, if you want to see more what I'm talking about and see it right on stream. Okay. Looking at my list here. Okay, tippet material. You're going to love this, okay? And you may disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm just telling you what I use, okay? I got away from using, for the most part, there are times I use expensive tippet material like Trout Hunter, like all the expensive. I'm not even going to name all the different brands, but they're all expensive. They come in those little spools, 25 meters or 30 meters or 50 meters, but they're way, way, way too expensive. But I will correct myself, because I do use Trout Hunter or Orvis or whatever brand in 6, 7, and 8X. But those I rarely touch. I rarely touch 7 and 8X. I occasionally will use 6X, but rarely that I even use those sizes. But I do have them, and I do use the like Trout Hunter, okay, for 6, 7, and 8X. As far as 3, 4, and 5X, I use 3, 4, and 5X a lot of times coming off my furled leader, or I use 4X most of the time. 90% of my leader setups are made up of 4X. And I will go down to the last tip part of it to 5X if I know I'm fishing streams with like 13, like if I'm fishing Spring Creek. Most of Spring Creek's average fish is like 11 inches, 12 inches, occasionally smaller ones. But if you know you're fishing on a stream that has average size fish, I will use a 5X, okay? I definitely won't use on any stream that has big fish, or you may get into big fish, even the selective trout streams, because, you know, they put pigs in there and big fish, and I don't like playing a fish too long, okay? I like to get them in as quick as possible, which sometimes they flop off because I try to get them in as quick as possible, but that's okay. I'm releasing them anyhow. So what I use is 3 spools of it here. It's called Seaguar Red Label, okay? Now this is, I use it in 3X, this is the 5X spool, and this is my 4X spool, which is 1,000 yards, okay? These smaller spools are 200 yards, and they're $10. If you can even get better deals on Amazon or eBay. This 1,000-yard spool, which will probably last me for years, was $33. $33 for 1,000 yards. I tell other guys, come on, fill up your little spools with these, and that's what I do. I transfer these bigger spools over to a smaller spool. These are just empty spools I have with me, and these are so cheap, and they work, believe me, just as good. All my videos since I started using them, all the videos I've done since I started doing the videos, all I use is Seaguar Red Label. Now, Seaguar does make different levels or brands of their fluoro. These are all fluorocarbon, okay? So you can get one that's slightly better, might have a slightly higher poundage, but it's slight. This is what was available to me years ago when I first started getting them at Walmart. I don't think Walmart even carries the Red Label anymore, but it is available on either Amazon or eBay. I know guys who use Stren and Berkeley fluoro also, and basically for the 3X I'm using 8-pound test, for 4X is 6-pound test, and for the 5X is 4-pound test. And that is, I rare that I have a fish break me off. Very rare, and it's probably more so from abrasion rubbing up against the knot than the line just breaking, okay? So this stuff, trust me, works absolutely great, ties great knots, and also that fluorocarbon is super abrasion resistant, okay? So I you know, if you guys are the type that use 6, 7, 8X, go with the you know, the more expensive. If Seaguar made a fluorocarbon in 2-pound test, I would probably use that for, well, this is 6-pound, yeah, I guess 2-pound test would be, maybe they do, I haven't researched it too much, but if they make a 2-pound test, I would probably get that for a 6X, but I do have a bunch of 6X, but when my 6X gets low, I'll search through the web and see if I can find a 2-pound fluorocarbon that's made through Seaguar. I love Seaguar products. Okay, next up is, that was tip material, my cutthroat furled leaders. I talk about these all the time. These are cutthroat furled leaders. Okay, they make them for the dry fly, they make them for nymphing. These are the nymphing leaders, and you probably can't see real well, but these, they make them in 3 different, the nymphing leaders are 50 inches, okay? There's about a foot and a half section up at the end that near the loop that attaches to your fly line that comes in either fluorescent orange, fluorescent chartreuse, or just the green color, okay, the chameleon green color, okay. I haven't used tapered mono leaders, geez, I don't even know, 20 years I haven't used them. For years and years and years, the first things that came out were braided leaders. I used to use Orvis braided leaders for a long time. they were okay. That's what was available. Any of the furled leaders were not made that well 20 years ago. Um, but and the Orvis braided leaders, the concept of them were like, I don't know if any of you guys know what a Chinese finger is. You put your finger at each end, and it's like a, I don't know, it's like a kid's toy, but it's braided and it's hollow inside. Well, because it's hollow inside, those Orvis braided leaders, or anybody's braided leaders, trap the water in there. So not a big deal when you're nymphing at all, but when you're dry fly casting with it, it would spray water. You'd have to do 4 or 5 false casts just to get the water out of the leader, and that's not cool. If you're fishing choppy water, it wasn't that bad, but if you're fishing glass or smooth or slow water, that spray could spook the fish, and it wasn't the best thing. So I was very happy when I discovered, I found these, I've been using these for about 5 years, maybe longer, at one of the trade shows. And so I tried them out, and I love them. What I love, they turn over the fly well. This only makes up your butt section of your leader, okay, just your butt section. They have longer than 50-inch furled leaders for dry fly fishing, but their standard nymphing leader is 50 inches. And but what I love about it is no memory. It just unravels perfectly straight every single time. So I usually get minimum of 2 years out of them. Okay, I always keep extra on hand. I'll give them away to guys to try out too. But so I highly recommend cutthroat furled leaders. Obviously this is not for the mono rig guys, but you know, if you just want to do general nymphing, which is what I call mine, just regular good old nymphing, I love them. Okay, with that, let me talk about my setup in just brief, okay, because like I said, you can go back to my nymphing videos, and I'll talk in detail too, but I talk more in detail in the videos. My basic leader is, I have the furl leader attached to my fly line. You can get the cutthroat furl leader in the other end of it is either a tippet ring or a shorb loop, which is basically just a loop, okay? I've used both of them. I've had actually better luck with the loop than the tippet ring, because I've had several of the I think I've had 2 of them. 2 of the cutthroat furl leaders that were over 2 years old, so it's probably more my fault that I didn't change them out, but where the tippet ring came off. And actually, when I was on the stream at the time, I just got the leader and tied it onto the tippet ring, the cutthroat furl leader, and it worked perfectly fine. But the original just wore through after 2 years. And but my basic leader setup is, and this is for nymphing or dry fly casting, okay? So the cutthroat furl leader's 50 inches, okay? Then I will attach, depending on what type of stream I'm fishing. If I'm fishing a deeper water, bigger water, let's just say that, I will use at least 5 feet of 4X, okay? 5 feet of 4X, and then I start tying on my tandem rig. If I'm fishing more shallow water, I may only use 4 feet, but 4 feet is the lowest I go down to, because basically you're just a little over 8 feet now, and that's a short hole, that's a short setup, okay? But now, if you're nymphing, I use either 2 or 3 tandem rigs, and for years and years and years, till now, even right now, I use an inline nymphing rig where I tie off the back of the hook, okay, of each hook, and I usually use anywhere from 14 to 18 inches of leader between each fly, and I usually put the heaviest fly first down to my lightest fly. The reason I do that is I utilize the swing and hanging at the end of my drift more than most guys. Well, that lighter fly is I use like a heavy fly, might be a glow bug with a big split shot or a couple split shots, a medium weighted fly in the middle, and then my nymph, soft tackle, whatever I'm going to use on the swing 9 times out of 10 they will either hit, let's say, my Isonicki in the middle or my little teeny fly at the end, because it looks like it's emerging. And it follows the same general principle of your leader setup, or even some fly line setups where you're going from, I can't say with the fly line setup, because fly lines are weighted all different in the middle, but generally it goes from heaviest down to lightest. Okay, so I keep that same principle even on my leader. I go from heaviest down to lightest, and with my nymph and rig, with my tandem rig, I use that same philosophy or principle. Heaviest fly up top first, down to my lightest. And you guys see my videos, how well it works for me. Now, the one thing I am changing, part of this podcast or blog, podcast that I heard with Tommy Rosenbauer and George Daniel was, and I've known about this, but I was too stubborn, and I didn't try it. I just didn't think it would be, I don't know, I just didn't think it would be possible. I mean, you know, when something works, you just keep reverting back to it and doing it over and over again. I told you I usually tie them in line off the bend of the hook. They were talking about tying them off the eye of the hook. So I'm assuming, because I couldn't find exactly, but tying off the eye of the hook, basically there's 2 knots on the hook, and I didn't think I could fit 2 lines through an eye of a hook, but you can. So I didn't think it was possible. So I am, my next time out, or I'm just going to give it a fair chance several times out, I'm going to start tying using the same principle from heaviest down to lightest. I'm going to start tying it off the eye of the hook, okay, instead of the back bend of the hook. They said it usually, George said that he finds he has less foul hookups, because he ties them off the bend of the hook sometimes too, and he says he generally gets more foul hookup fish, which in my videos you guys see it. Now, I can't say honestly that it's the rig. I mean, maybe I will disagree with George here, because I will go 3-4 trips with not one foul hooked, and I'll catch 100 fish, 3-4 fish, okay? Not one foul hooked fish. And then I have a day where half of the fish I catch are all foul hooked. And I think it applies more to when I'm nymphing, when there's a hatch going off. You know, occasionally I'll get a foul hooked fish if I catch 20 fish in a day. Maybe 2 or 3 of them might be foul hooked, okay? And that's not every day. That's just on a particular day. But like I said, there's plenty of times I don't get any. But on those days where I get a lot, it's usually during the hatch. There's a lot of bugs all throughout the water column, and I think those fish are just slamming and going at it, and the rig is there, and there's 2 or 3 flies on, and they're getting tangled, or they brush by it. I feel it, or I see the line move, and I set the hook, and you get foul hooked fish. So I can't say that it's definitely how the setup is. I found it more that way when there was a hatch going off, like I said, and the fish are just feeding, you know, really good and really slamming your fly, and I that's at least my theory so far. But I'm still searching for the answer, and you always try to improve. You're always trying to learn. Okay, so I'll give that rig of tying off the eye of the hook, I'm going to give that a fair shot and see how that, you know, see how that works. Okay, my next one is, I talked about my tandem rig. Okay, sunglasses, just sunglasses in general. I use 2 pair. I use either amber or yellow. I am finding that, and I've always used sunglasses like, you know, most guys, but I'm finding I'm using my yellow, even on sunny days, more than my amber. I have used normally my amber for bright sunny days. But the yellow is supposed to collect more light in low light conditions, cloudy conditions, and that is true. But for some reason, I'm really liking the yellow, even though on a bright day. But you know, I got both of them, so I can just change. It's just kind of what mood I'm in. But I would say, you know, this is just reading, but most of the time in the past, bright sunny days, my amber lens, okay? Not dark green, not black, not a real dark color. So the amber is like a brownish orange color. And and the you know, the yellow is the yellow. Okay, so next I want to talk about, this is kind of neat. I hope you guys appreciate this. I feel like I'm going to do a commercial. This is Flex Seal Clear by Phil Swift. No, but yes, this stuff does work. It is great. Okay, for you guys who don't know where there's a leak in your waders, oh my God, I've been using this now for 2 years and it is awesome. Okay, what you lose if you're using them on breathable waders, the section that you spray this on, you're gonna lose your breathability of it. I don't really care if I lose a little section of breathability if I'm gonna have a dry leg at the end of the day. So basically, if I got, whether it's a seam, whatever, if you know somewhere generally around where your leak is, make sure you're dry, your waders are dry inside and out. The inside of it, I will put 2 coats. I'll put a light coat on first. You know, if it's in maybe a 4-inch or 5-inch area, just spray that lightly, let it dry. Spray it again, let it dry. Then flip them right side out, and same thing, that same area. It does turn your waders a little bit on the darker side. It kind of looks like they're wet, but who cares? And I would spray that with 2 coats too, that section that where I think the leak is. And the best part about it is you don't have to know exactly where it is. It's a spray. It covers the whole area. It's waterproof. I sprayed my Sims waders, you know, $400 Sims waders last year, and perfectly fine now. Perfectly fine. I sprayed them last year, and I just retouched it up the other day just to, like, I saw the outside layer crack in a little bit, so I'm like, you know what, let me just touch them up. Touched them up. Still, these are, you're gonna have waders. I think Woolly Bug, he did a video of like 4 pair of waders all leaking. Okay, you don't have to put them aside. You know, if it's a big puncture, you know, use Aqua Seal. If you got a big puncture and you know exactly where it is. If you have those teeny little minute punctures, this stuff is great. Okay, so I highly recommend. You can get this at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot. About $10 a can, maybe a little more, 12 bucks, but absolutely excellent. Okay. Also, let me go back to, I said with my forceps, I tie flies onto my line with my forceps, and my dry flies are a small fly, anything under a 20. You can also use, this is called a tie right junior. There's tie right, I don't know if they call it a senior, but it's a regular tie right, and this one is a little bit smaller as a tie right junior. You push up, it's just like a pen, okay, pen case. You push it up, it has a hook on it, you grab your fly, it's spring loaded, it comes back, holds it, and it's on a swivel, so you can tie your fly, twist it around for a clinch knot. It comes with also a swivel, and you could put you know, this on as a zinger if you want. I bought it, I used it for about a year, and I just put it off to the side because the same thing, I don't want to carry 2 things with me if I'm using my Hemostats for it. But this does work too, so these are pretty cool. Tie right junior. Okay. I'm going to talk about, go back to my tying desk. I still have some lacquer here, but I rarely ever use it. I went to using lately, and last year, I used crazy glue or super glue, liquid, not the gel, liquid. Okay. I have had, geez man, I've been tying for 40 years, and I buy lacquer thinner. The lacquer thinner color sometimes will turn the color. It may make your lacquer look yellow. It may make it look cloudy. Then you get to a point where you just got to throw it out and go buy a new one. And you know what? Super glue and crazy glue, they come in these teeny little things. They'll last like for so long, and it's super cheap, and it works great, and it's much stronger than any lacquer you're gonna put on your you know, fly. Now I don't know about the UV stuff, you know, that I don't know, the UV stuff that they're doing now, but cure glue or something like that. Sure, I don't know what they call it, but I don't use that stuff. My son uses it all the time on his big musky flies and pike flies. But I went back to using just super glue, and it works great. No problems at all. Use it up, throw out, get another little little one, and it works awesome. Next up is more and more guys are tying with beads. Highly recommend Bead Tweezers. Okay, these are Bead Tweezers. This one came in a 3-pack, like a small, medium, and a large. These tweezers on the inside of the point have dimples, so you grab your bead with them. But I use these tweezers, geez, for so much. When I'm done the fly, I'm hanging it up to. I use these tweezers are on my desk all the time. I always use my tweezers, and they're spring loaded. They have a lock on them. You slide it up and down, and makes them open or make them, close with a lock. And I love these bead tweezers. Okay, I know it's different people who make them. I don't know whose brand this is. Doesn't have anything stamped on it, but stainless steel, relatively simple. And like I said, this came in a 3-pack. I think the 3-pack was only like $12 to $15, so not expensive at all. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to talk about 2 books. There's probably a lot of books. Tommy Rosenbauer has a trout food book. I think it's called just Trout Food, and it goes over different nymphs as far as caddis, stonefly, midges. It's not that expensive either, but I wish I had the name of it off the top of my head. But I think it's just called Trout Food. But it's by Tommy Rosenbauer. You can probably get it through Orvis or on Amazon. But it explains basically. See, a lot of guys. I guess for me, I'm old school, and I have the background. My foundation was on bugs. Okay, had to learn the bugs, tie up more realistic bugs, and that's how I did it back then. The last 15 years, 20 years, I got into attractors, and attractors work great. I guess I feel a little like new guys coming into fly fishing can just throw on a squirmy wormy or a glow bug or whatever and go out there and catch fish, and that's great. But boy, I would love for you guys or for anybody who's going into fly fishing to try and simply learn that, get the base of the nymphs. Okay, that basic knowledge of understanding the mayfly, the caddis, the stonefly, the midges, and you will be much better prepared out there, because there are sometimes when the bugs don't work, and sometimes when the attractors don't work. Okay, so you gotta have more arrows in your quiver. I stress that statement a lot. Having more arrows in your quiver gives you got more to go after those fish with, more knowledge. Okay, so understanding that bug life, and his book is a very, very, very simple book. It doesn't go into detail like some of the old school books. Geez, it was like a science book. Okay, using all the Latin terms and going into how long they are, millimeters. You don't need all that back. You don't need that kind of knowledge. Okay, basic fly knowledge for fly fishing is. I just highly recommend that for you guys, because it just better prepares you going out on the stream. You will be able, hopefully, to identify what the bugs are. When you flip over the rocks or you see them flying in the air, the different stages. It really does help you. Okay, I don't think it's anything that you would not appreciate by reading through a short little book like that. Okay, next one is, this is the Bible fishing book for Pennsylvania. Keystone Fly Fishing. I think it's about maybe 4 years old now. It came out, but this is an absolute great book. All the different areas, southeastern Pennsylvania, southeast, northeast, south central, north central, central, the western side of PA has all the streams, not just trout. We'll talk about the rivers, talk about other species like bass and maybe muskie, and so it is. I highly recommend this book. A lot of guys know about this already, but for you guys who don't, get this book. If you're from Pennsylvania or you fish Pennsylvania, get this book. Okay. The next one is, and I'm going to learn more and more and more and more about the upper Delaware River system, because I'm in love with that river system now. Okay, this is the upper Delaware River. This is the Fly Fishing Guide, and it's by Paul Weimer. Okay, I got this a couple years ago, and I just go through this thing like crazy. This is for you guys who want to go to the Delaware or live up there or whatever. This is the book for the upper Delaware. Okay, it doesn't talk about hatches, and this talks about different sections, different pools, where you can park, which road to take, from New York and PA side. So super duper duper fishing guide, fly fishing guide for the upper Delaware, West Branch, East Branch, and the main stem. Okay, so those two books I highly recommend. And then just a general comment I want to make on times to fish. Okay, and I'm gonna go against traditional myth or thinking. Is you guys who have been with me for a while and see my videos, wintertime, I will fish 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, the old saying from fly fishing in the winter is, oh, the best time to fish is from 12 to 3. Okay, well, yes, maybe, but I haven't found that to be true. Okay, I have caught fish a lot of times on my first cast 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, the best time to be on the water is when you can get on the water. And if you have the time to be out there all day, I would say fish all day, because I have caught fish super early in the morning. There is a time when I was up on Little J, where Spruce Creek comes out, but a little bit above, actually right where the church is. And this was like 5 o'clock at night. It was winter time. It was dark, and there was a monster midge hatch coming off. Well, I was fishing a tandem rig. I put on 2 midge pupas, and in the dark for like a half an hour, I just slammed. There wasn't many browns. I slammed big rainbows up there, and it was after dark, and this midge hatch was coming off, and then they were just eating my midge pupa. It was just the most awesome half hour of fishing I had. And if you see my videos, you'll see it, like I said, plenty of times I am catching fish the first 10 minutes I'm there at 7 o'clock in the morning, okay, or 8 o'clock in the morning, well before 12. So even up on my last 2 times up on the Delaware, I was catching fish the first hour I was there. So, and water does not warm that quick in the winter. Okay, part of this podcast I heard Tommy talking about, like, well, when the water warms up a couple degrees. I'm telling you, in the wintertime, if that water is been whatever temperature it's been in the winter, you're lucky if the water temperature raises a half a degree. If it raises a full degrees, you're super lucky. And but it will, I don't know if I've ever seen it go over a degree in the winter, because it just doesn't happen. Maybe on a spring creek, maybe, but they're usually pretty stable. But as far as the average stream out there, if you get a half a temperature rise in the morning, or I mean from all day long, then you're lucky, and that's pretty standard, about a half a temperature rise. And then days of the weeks that I fish is I always fish during the week. I work weekends, so I'm stuck to that, but it works great towards when I can get on the stream, because most other guys got to work during the week. And if you guys can get out during the week when there's less pressure on the stream, and that's for any time of year, there's always less guys Monday through Friday on the stream than there is Saturdays and Sundays. So get out there if you can get out midweek. And like I said, if you can get out there early and fish all day, I wouldn't just focus on 12 to 3, especially in the winter. So I don't know how that all was, but I went through my whole list. So I hope you guys appreciated that. These are just my tips Okay, what I do, how I think, my theory behind things. You can take it or leave it, but they're my suggestions. And if give me your questions. Answer or ask me any of your questions down below. I'll try to answer every one. And so, thank you very much. I do have a request from you guys. If any of you guys know of somebody around Pennsylvania, preferably, that can replace a reel seat or a new cork handle. I bought a new rod last week, and I bought NRX, a G Loomis NRX Plus, a 10-foot 4-weight. I had my 10-foot 4-weight Cabela's rod, which I use in most of my videos. It is my most versatile rod. But last year I fixed the handle, the cork handle, and it became loose again. And it just right now is my most comfortable rod. It's one of my cheapest rods, but I got to get a new handle on it. And I've looked around my Reading area, my southeast Pennsylvania. I'm having a hard time trying to find. So if any of you guys can make a comment down below, anybody who does really, really good cork handle and a nice reel seat, I would appreciate it. And I'll, just send me the right there, just in my comments, put down the contact, information, and I'll give the guy a call, and, and hopefully I can use somebody. So thank you very much for your time. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. And I will get out on the stream soon. I know I've been out, but I haven't been doing videos. And so I know I'm going out next week coming up. So I don't know where I'll be. Hopefully I can get a video for you guys. Okay, so stay tuned, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.